It is officially summer 2021, and what better time to whip out our grills and make some delicious barbecue? Well, in today's recipe, I'm going to share with you guys how I make my garlic and herb crusted BBQ ribs. You can use pork ribs, you can use beef ribs, you can use whatever you would like to use, but the most important thing is that it's going to be well marinated and has a delicious glaze. So without wasting much of your time, let's get started. So today I'm going to be using some beef ribs. Yes, it is kind of hard to find them beef ribs. I always see the pork, but I was so happy when I found these, so I went for it. These are spare ribs, and they're ready for the grill. So you can already see that it's serrated between the bones. Yeah, it's ready for that grill. You can already see the mark. So what I'm going to do is here, I'm going to go ahead and pat it dry with a clean paper towel, a kitchen towel, pat it dry, so that we will be ready to put our marinade on it. So yeah, this is the serration I was talking about is already cut, and it's just ready for the grill. You can leave it as is whole, but I'm going to be starting off by taking off that membrane that is covering that bottom part of the ribs. It is important to take it off, and I'll just try to find a piece where I can lift it, and I go in with a paper towel just to get a better grip, and then I just pull. It usually just pulls off very easily. So what that does is just lets you have a better surface area to work with as far as those spices, and it just helps to tenderize the rib. So this is what came off of it. I already took up the one off of the other one. Again, just pat it dry with a paper towel, cut off any excess moisture, and I also cut off excess fat. Now I'm gonna go ahead today. I just decided to cut the ribs. I actually ended up separating them into singles. That's just how I wanted it, and to just cook faster that way. I'm gonna go ahead and season with some sea salt, and I'm also going in with some black pepper. That's all I'm doing at this point. I flip it over on the other side, did the same thing with the salt and pepper, and we're just gonna put that aside, and we're gonna go on to make a really delicious fresh marinade. Stay with me. So to make our garlic and herb marinade, of course, we're going to need lots of garlic, and I have, you can use as much as you can tolerate. Here I have one green bell pepper. You can see that I took the seeds out of one and left the seeds in the other one. The seeds and them add so much flavor to it. Try it and let me know. I'm also going to be using some spring onions. This is about 5 of them. Really tasty. We're all about that freshness. To that, in time I'm making meat, I have to have some fresh rosemary. So these are about 2 sprigs of rosemary. I'm going to take them off of the little stems and put it in my blender. I'm also going to be using some fresh thyme. Thyme and rosemary pair really beautifully together, especially with meat. I'm also going to be adding half of a red onion, and for heat I'm going to be adding some habanero peppers. Now this is really optional. If you cannot tolerate any heat at all, just skip this and maybe just use cayenne pepper or pepper flakes, which I'm going to be using anyway. Now it is important to add some mustard into a marinade. I prefer the Dijon mustard. Is really good, but if you don't have it, you can just use the regular French's classic yellow mustard. It works perfectly as well. I'm also going to be adding some cayenne pepper to taste. We got some ground coriander. This is really important and tasty, and of course some ground ginger, because I did not have enough fresh ginger. Now we need something acidic to help us tenderize our meat, and I'm going to be using my favorite apple cider Heinz vinegar. If you do not use vinegar to make marinades, you can just use some freshly squeezed lemons or lime. Now I went ahead to buy Mr. Make It Happen's all-purpose seasoning. Guys, if you don't know who Mr. Make It Happen is, check him out on YouTube. I will leave his link in the description box. He just launched his all-purpose seasoning, and I was happy to grab some of that, so I'm going to be using it today in my recipe as well. Guys, I also added some fresh parsley, but I lost that footage. I'm so sorry. And for salt, I am going to be using some beef bouillon because I'm working with beef, so this works perfectly. You can also use the chicken bouillon. It is also very delicious. This is my marinade after I blended everything. The freshness from the herbs and the spices makes all the difference. This marinade can be used for fish, meat, chicken, name it. It is really cool. You can just put it in an airtight container and put it in your refrigerator, and it will last for weeks, because that vinegar also helps. And to make it even last longer, you can add some vegetable oil or olive oil. That's a good tip right there. So I'm going ahead with my marinade and just, marinate them babies up, get them well seasoned. Now I could not find my gloves to go in there, so I just had to use my wooden spatula, so bear with me, okay? I hope you guys are enjoying this video. If you were, please give me a thumbs up. This, by the way, was our 4th of July barbecue. So this is my marinated beef ribs. They are all nicely coated in that fresh garlic and herb. And if you notice, I put the meaty side on the bottom to get it well marinated. Now I'm going to cover it up with aluminum foil and let it sit to marinate for at least 4 hours to 24 hours. You could do it the night before. And this is it after it has been marinating. And make sure you bring it out at least 30 minutes before, so that it can get back to room temperature before you start cooking. Now, to reduce my cooking time, I am going to bake these in the oven at 350 degrees for about 45 minutes to an hour. Make sure you check it, and at that point it should be almost falling off the bone. So that really cuts down the cooking time, and it gives time for all those seasonings to get right into the bone. Guys, talk about complex flavors. This is what it looks like. You can see that you can actually eat it right here. You could stop right here and eat it, but we're not gonna stop right here. We're gonna keep going ahead because we need to make a barbecue. Now see that good old broth? All of that came from the beef, and you can also see that it has a lot of oil. Now I'm gonna get rid of that oil because we do not need that. So while we wait for those flames to die down, we're going to go ahead and make our barbecue rub. So this is the broth that came off of the baked ribs. I went ahead and took off all the excess oil, and you can just go in at this time with your favorite barbecue sauce. I am just using some Sweet Baby Ray's today. Use any barbecue sauce of your choice. So you want to add that to that broth. It will just intensify that flavor and build up on the crust that we're looking for, because the broth is mainly all the garlic and the herb that we use in the seasoning. So I'm just going in with some tongues and just coating the ribs in this barbecue sauce. You can just pour them over it, or just use your brush and glaze them over it, but I want a better coverage, so I'm just going in and dipping them one by one into that glaze. And look at that beauty, guys. It is so delicious at this point. But of course, I'm going to go ahead and, just coat all of the ribs remaining. And by the time I'm doing all this, my fire will be ready. And of course, I'm using my charcoal grill. Guys, you can use a gas grill. You can use a smoker, whatever you have. So now my grill is hot. I'm just going to go ahead and put the ribs on it. The ribs, mind you, are already done at this point. We just want to get it charred, get that smoky flavor on it. And also cut down on the cooking time because we've already baked it and it's pretty much done. So this is what our ribs are looking like. Nice, crusty, guys, so delicious. I highly recommend that you guys try this recipe. It is so delicious. I just went ahead and sprinkled some fresh parsley on it. We recently had a party over here in my city, and I had to make a whole aluminum foil tray, the party size, for that event, and I'm telling you, everybody wanted seconds. Everybody loved it. It is really delicious. This is what a finished product looks like. You can see that glaze is nice and thick. It has that crust on it. It is perfectly cooked and still very tender. I thank you guys so much for watching, and to my returning subscribers, you guys are the VIPs. Until I catch you in my next one, y'all stay safe, and please give this video a thumbs up, share with your friends and family, and I will see you in my next one. Bye y'all.